It's the Andy Griffith Show, Facts and Trivia, with your host, Bob Snap.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Andy Griffith Show, Facts and Trivia. Appreciate you being here. Today's video is on stars that were on the Andy Griffith Show before they were famous. I'll see if I miss any and see if you pick up any that I've missed and put it in the comment section below. Take a look. Okay, let's start with Miss Teri Garr. Most of Teri Garr's first roles in the mid-60s were as dancers in musicals of the era. She wasn't even credited for hoofing in a couple, actually several Elvis Presley movies: Viva Las Vegas, Roustabout, and Clambake. 1968, she scored two small unrelated roles on two popular related shows: Girl in Red Convertible on The Andy Griffith Show and Cashier on the spinoff Mayberry RFD. Around the same time she was up for those parts and others, Garr had an inkling that her unexceptional resume wasn't getting casting directors' attention, so she lied, picking Broadway plays that starred people I admired. I added them to my resume. Desire Under the Elms and The Three Sisters, directed by Lee Strasberg and starring Geraldine Page and Teri Garr. She explained in her memoir, Speed Bumps. Nobody ever called out Garr, and she went on to a long career. She starred in a lot of 70s and 80s hits like Young Frankenstein, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, My Mom, and Tootsie, where she received an Academy Award nomination. Rob Reiner. In 1967, 20-year-old Rob Reiner made a single brief appearance on The Andy Griffith Show as a printer's apprentice named Joe. It was only his fifth screen acting role, but one which would help him get a toehold in Hollywood as a writer. The son of the Dick Van Dyke Show creator and comedian Carl Reiner, Rob Reiner landed a spot on the writing staff of Headmaster, a short-lived private school drama that Andy Griffith starred in after his sitcom ended. He also guested in one episode. One of the episodes is about a teacher who had an affair with one of his students, and I played that teacher. Rob told I'm sorry, Archive of American Television. Rob's parallel acting and filmmaking path would both prove fruitful. He won 2 Emmys for playing impassioned liberal Michael Meathead Stivic on All in the Family, and went on to direct Stand By Me, This is Spinal Tap, Misery, and A Few Good Men. Jerry Van Dyke. The Andy Griffith Show faced potential creative ruin in '65 when main cast member Don Knotts left the series after 5 seasons. Breakout star of the show, Knotts won 3 Emmys for his portrayal of bumbling, bug-eyed Mayberry Sheriff's Deputy Barney Fife and wanted to act in movies. Producers of The Andy Griffith Show considered bringing in a new actor to play a Barney-like character, and for season 5 episode Banjo Playing Deputy, they cast Jerry Van Dyke as Jerry. At the time, Van Dyke had turned in only a handful of sitcom appearances, notably as a sibling of the character played by his real-life brother on The Dick Van Dyke Show. Van Dyke earned consideration because he was already in Griffith's orbit, and they had the same manager, and the two toured as comedians together with Don Knotts. I basically played Don Knotts' part. I was a carnival guy, and my mother knew Aunt Bee, and well, that was the episode, Van Dyke told Pop Dose. And I know they wanted me to do it, but I never had a real offer for it. I know they were kicking it around, though. But I would have taken it anyway. I wouldn't have taken it anyway. Over the next couple of years, Van Dyke turned down the title role in Gilligan's Island, to star on a short-lived bomb, My Mother the Car, but would eventually become a 4-time Emmy nominee for his work on the 90s sitcom Coach. Bill Bixby. Just in terms of volume, Bill Bixby is one of American television's all-time greats. He starred in 3 long-running, endless repeated TV hits on My Favorite Martian as Tim O'Hara, bemused human guardian of Alien, on The Courtship of Eddie's Father as a doting single dad, Tom Corbett, and as scientist David Banner as the monstrous form of the title character of The Incredible Hulk. He also directed more than 100 episodes of television, primarily Blossom. Well before all that small screen success, landed a string of tiny roles of early 1960s television series. One of his first gigs was Bailey's Bad Boy, a season 2 episode of The Andy Griffith Show, airing in '62. In contrast, in his eventual succession of nice guy roles, Bixby portrayed Ronald Bailey, the smug and selfish teenage scion of a wealthy family who gets in a fender bender in Mayberry and learns common decency from Andy Taylor and the gang. Howard Hessman. 70s and 80s Howard Hessman would star in popular, well-received sitcoms back-to-back. He portrayed worn-out rock disc jockey Dr. Johnny Fever on WKRP in Cincinnati, garnering 2 Emmy nominations. And in 86 to 90, high school teacher Charlie Moore headed the class. Hessman's entire screen career began with another classic sitcom in 1968, as he appeared in 2 different characters on 2 separate episodes of The Andy Griffith Show. In the series' final season, Hessman played Counter Boy, a diner employee in Goober Goes to the Auto Show, and 5 weeks later popped up as Harry in Sam for City Council. Hessman wasn't billed as Howard Hessman for either appearance. At the time, he used a stage name, Don Sturdy, taking it from a character of early 20th century children's adventure novels. It's kind of a joke, Hessman told people. Jack Nicholson. Long before he eventually won 3 Academy Awards in 50s and 60s, Jack Nicholson paid his dues by appearing on an episode or 2 of a TV show, or landing a small role in a B-movie like The Little Shop of Horrors. By 66, he had grown frustrated with trying to land guest star roles on TV shows, with his distinctive sarcastic and arc persona starting to show up in his work. I got him a few jobs by kind of forcing him on producers. Sometimes they got mad at me afterwards, casting director Fred Roos said in Jack's life biography of Jack Nicholson. Here would be this guy in the middle of some sitcom doing Jack Nicholson was not part of his style. Before he gave up TV entirely for films in the late 60s, he appeared on 2 late episodes of The Andy Griffith Show. In 66's Opie Finds a Baby, he played half of a couple who leave their baby on a stranger's porch in Mayberry. In 67's Aunt Bee the Juror, Aunt Bee serves on a jury for a petty thievery trial, and she's convinced the innocence of the defendant, Nicholson. Mr. Don Rickles, one of the most famous stand-up comedians of all times. He owned his act in nightclubs in the 60s and took this shtick all over the world into the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson 131 times. Rickles specialized in insult comedy, savagely and swiftly making fun of anyone in his line of vision to the delight of audiences. He played a variation of persona in Pixar's Toy Story movies, voicing Mr. Potato Head, who even uses Rickles' signature insult of calling someone a hockey puck. Concurrent with the rise to the top of the comedy world, Rickles made the rounds of TV sitcoms in the 60s, showing up for limited runs of The Addams Family, The Munsters, The Dick Van Dyke Show, and in 65, The Andy Griffith Show. The episode The Luck of Newt Monroe focused entirely on Rickles' one-off character, a traveling salesman who comes to Mayberry and experiences a seemingly unending streak of bad luck. Artie Johnson, comic character actor Artie Johnson, had a tendency to disappear into his roles, fully enveloped in funny costumes and utilizing funny voices. While he appeared in nearly 200 movies, TV series, and cartoons, Johnson was undoubtedly the best known for his spot in the cast of the sketch comedy performers of 67 to 61 countercultural variety show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. He popped up often as Tyrone F. Horneye, a lascivious trench coat-clad old man, and as Wolfgang, a World War II-era German soldier with the catchphrase, "Very interesting." Years before Laugh-In made him famous, Johnson practiced his quirky comedy stylings in Andy and Barney in the Big City in the 62 episode of The Andy Griffith Show. Janie Farr. Janie Farr's career began in 55 drama Blackboard Jungle, and then extended it to the 2018-2019 sitcom The Cool Kids. And with the 100 or so roles in between, he's most associated with MASH for all 11 seasons of the 72 to 83 sitcom. Farr portrayed Corporal Maxwell Klinger, an unwitting Korean War participant, perpetually and unsuccessfully angling for a discharge by dressing in women's clothing. 58, Farr secured one of his first on-screen roles as co-pilot Lieutenant Gardelli in No Time for Sergeants, military satire starring Andy Griffith and Don Knotts. The pair would reunite for Andy Griffith Show a few years later, and their No Time for Sergeant co-star, Farr, would appear on the sitcom as well on his 1966 episode that didn't age particularly well. Farr played Grecos, a member of a group of Roma who arrive in Mayberry, scam the locals, and put a rain-preventing curse on the town. Kay Lenz, as teen Kay Lenz, billed as K.N. Kemper, played a potential love interest for Opie on 67 episode of The Andy Griffith Show. 6 years later, she acted opposite Howard again in 73 nostalgic blockbuster American Graffiti. That same year, Lenz was nominated for the Golden Globe for Most Promising Newcomer for her work in Clint Eastwood's romantic drama Breezy. She would go on to have a long career in Hollywood, primarily acting in horror movies and action flicks, notably House and Death Wish 4, The Crackdown, respectively, and co-starring on the early 90s NBC legal drama Reasonable Doubts. She also won a Daytime Emmy for the 1974 made-for-TV movie Hard in Hiding. But it all started with Opie's Group. There you go. I know it's a long one. Just let me know if I missed any. So I'm going to cut this short real quick since you had to sit here all this time. Let me know if you caught any that I didn't. Don't forget about classic rock and country music facts and trivia. Have a great day. God bless you. Praying for you.